Go between number 1 Nebraska and number 11 Penn State. Two legends of the game on the benches tonight. John Cook, the head coach for the Cornhuskers, 3-time national champion, 2-time AVCA National Coach of the Year, leading the defending national champions in the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Russ Rose, 7 national championships for him, 14-time Big Ten Coach of the Year, 5-time National Coach of the Year. The accolades for both of them go on and on, but we've got a match to play, and we're going to focus on that tonight. These two teams have played some of the best matches of the last decade, including once Nebraska joined the Big Ten. Huskers have the 16-10 overall lead, but in Big Ten matches, it is a 5-4 edge to Nebraska since they joined in 2011. Audrey, you and I have been fortunate enough to call a number of matchups between these two. We know we are in store for the best that collegiate volleyball has to offer.
Yeah, this competition brings out the best in both teams, and I tell you what, the girls elevate their level of play, and it's important to note last year Nebraska swept both of the matches against Penn State. So it was a great matchup last year. We'll see how they do on Penn State's home court tonight.
Huskers swept the Nittany Lions in Lincoln, and here in Rec Hall, it was a 2-0 lead for Penn State that Nebraska then came back from to win and end Penn State's 33-match win streak when they were number 1. It was their first true win over a number 1 team, true road win over a number 1 team. So a lot of history. There's some animosity between the two teams, but that leads to some great nights of volleyball.
Absolutely. A ton of respect for what each team can bring to the floor.
Kendall White, the Penn State libero, to start things off tonight. And we are underway. Dietering was going to try to set from her knees, but it was bumped up by White. Justine Wong-Orantes back in the lineup for the Cornhuskers after missing last Saturday's match due to recovering from a head injury against Illinois.
Yeah, I'm sure the Husker fans are very excited to see Justine Wong-Orantes out on the floor, the 2015 Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. It would have been a huge loss for her not to be playing tonight.
Franti with the tip, goes for the back line, and they'll say it was in, so the point to Penn State and Allie Franti. We're gonna look last Friday night against the Fighting Illini. It took Justine Wong-Orantes out, and she would miss the following match against Northwestern, and you can see why.
Yeah, and the remarkable thing is she got hit and then she laughed her way out of it. But I'm telling you, that is painful when you get hit in the head that hard. So courage for her to get back into the swing of things tonight.
Service error for Penn State, and we'll keep an eye on those numbers. Service errors have been issues for Penn State in their losses this year, especially early in the season, and they cannot afford to have those pile up on them.
Right, and the other thing that Penn State was really struggling with in the past weeks was net violations on the block. So kind of sloppy play on their side of the net. We'll see if they can clean it up tonight.
Bump set. Right into the Penn State block off of Katie Rolfson's attack. And brings us to our starting lineups for this match. They're brought to you by Tachikara, and you look at the lineup for the Cornhuskers. Rolfson twins, Fecky, Hunter, Holman, Albright, and Justine Wong-Orantes. That was actually the libero, not the DH. This is not an American League Baseball game. Into the net, and a mistake there by Simone Lee. Look at the starters for this Penn State team that has lost 3 consecutive matches. Simone Lee has been the most consistent player, and we'll come back to the lineup for the Nittany Lions in just a moment. Hunter sets Amber Rolfson. Lee the swing, and there'll be a touch call, and Penn State has the point to even it up back at 3. You see Penn State, Franti on the outside with Simone Lee, and then Heidi Thielen has now moved into that right side position with White as the libero. Washington had to try to dig that ball up. And the point for Nebraska and Andy Malloy.
Andy Malloy, what a great asset she is to this team. A transfer coming in, upperclassman. And so she brings a lot of stability to that left pin. A nice cut shot there. by Malloy.
Malloy, the senior, out of Allen, Texas, spent 2 years at Baylor. All Big 12 selection twice there, and then service there from Annika Albright. Nebraska, just 1 loss on the year, 11-1 conference play, 21 overall. Only lost to Ohio State at home on October 1st. And that even wasn't a big surprise because Ohio State has now defeated Nebraska in Lincoln 3 consecutive matches. You're going to see a double contact called on Kelly Hunter.
Well, Kelly Hunter trying to make the tricky set, moving along the net, trying to push it back, and gets called for a double.
Speaking of transfers, Abby Dietering in her first year with the Nittany Lions. Is Kelly Hunter having a discussion with the UP official at the moment. Dietering transferring from Florida, where she played 2 seasons, and she's led Penn State to the best hitting percentage in the Big Ten Conference, but has had some challenges as of late. Obviously, the Minnesota match did not start that match against Minnesota last week, but starting tonight. Fecky the swing, and Franti can't dig that ball up. The kill for Fecky.
You know, you talk about Dietering. She's a natural lefty setter. We'll talk about Dietering in a second. Let's take a look at this swing. Big time swing by Fecky. You know, she's outstanding at hitting deep corners, and that's exactly what she does with that shot. We talk about Dietering, she's a lefty, and that's exactly how Nebraska lost to Ohio State, because they have a phenomenal lefty setter in Hughes, and so we'll see if Dietering gets involved offensively for Penn State when she's in the front row.
She averages about 3.6 kills per match, and that one out of play from Simone Lee, and that offensive element from the setter for Penn State can make a big difference. Lee this time swinging on the right side. She'll use the block for the point.
Well, you're seeing there the Big Ten leader in kills per set. She's on her way of having a good night tonight so far, and she just has such a variety of shots. The shot that I love is the one that she hits kind of flat into the hands and high off the blocker's hands. So well done by Simone Lee.
Laura Broerman in to serve for the Nittany Lions. And there we saw the attack coming from Hunter, but Penn State and Tori Guerrel waiting on it.
Yeah, Guerrel just standing there, reads it perfectly, respecting the setter there. Timing was perfect.
Hunter has been a great offensive setter as well for Nebraska this season, coming off a 5-kill effort against Northwestern. Here's Holman. A chance for Fecky. And she goes out of play, does not come off a Nittany Lion, so mistake there by Michaela Fecky.
Well, let's take a look at the swing here. Does not touch the block, does not land in court.
Challenge review system is now available at Penn State. That was brought in mid-season. Misconnection there between Dietering and Guerrel, but bumped back over. Just punched by Guerrel. Another chance for Holman. And that flies out of play. The Penn State fans thought that the dig might stay in and go down as a point, but it's a kill for Brianna Holman.
Well, Holman's a fast attacker on that slide. Really dynamic young lady. And Coach Cook thinks that she still has the ability to elevate her game. So what you see today is not, in, as far as Coach Cook is concerned, the best that that young lady can play.
Another player who's trying to elevate her game, Tori Guerrel, just a redshirt freshman. She's gotten better throughout the year.
Yeah, she has. I love her arm swing. It's so fluid and natural, and then she always hits away from the block. What a fantastic young lady and middle blocker she is for Penn State.
Straight down, what a hammer from Holman.
Well, maybe she heard that I said she's got more to unleash, because she certainly unleashed on that attack. Take a look at how that ball is right between both of Penn State's blockers. Brianna Holman just taking a hold of that one and slamming it down.
Holman is 12th in the Big Ten in hitting percentage, and those kind of chances, she's going to hit for a high percentage, no problem. Off the block, Franti, And back and forth we go.
Yep, and in order for Penn State to be successful tonight, that young lady right there has got to do some big numbers. She's taking big swings, hitting off the block. It's her passing game that's always been in question for her. We'll see if Nebraska picks on her in serve receive.
So Audrey, would you rate that the passing game needs to be better for her than her offensive numbers? Is that more important for Penn State?
Well, it is. Penn State has to stay in system, so the impact of the pass is huge for them.
Triple block for the Nittany Lions, and they open up a 3-point lead in the first set.
Well, take a look at how they're set, ready to go. They read the play perfectly, obviously well scouted how Nebraska runs their play on this serve receive pattern. They come in and block perfectly.
Rolfson on the right side, another stuff for Penn State.
Well, if Penn State can continue blocking this well, they will get in Nebraska's head. And right now, Franti doing a really good job of sealing that left side pin.
And a timeout for the Huskers as Penn State up by 4 in set number 1. With all the national titles between these two teams, it's no surprise they've played a number of matches when either one of them has been number 1. October 29th, 2011, the first year Nebraska was in the Big Ten Conference. The number 1 team, they would lose to Penn State in 4 sets when Penn State was number 8. Huskers would go on to win the Big Ten title, though, in their first season as a member of the conference. Laying out, great get there by White, and it turns into a point.
Now Kendall White, what a phenomenal play, an athletic move, moving her feet and then sprawling out. Take a look at this dig by the libero for Penn State.
Didn't get a chance there, but we'll come back. 4-0 run, and it's ended there on the kill from Malloy.
And that's what Nebraska will do. Penn State made a phenomenal play. Nebraska quickly sides out, and momentum now has shifted to Nebraska's side.
Washington the swing. Looking for her first kill, but this will be another chance for the Huskers. Good up there from Browerman. Cross-court Malloy, Franti into the scorer's table. Another chance for Malloy. Didn't get a lot on that ball. Good up in the back row. Maloney, she'll have to fire that one over, and she does. Rally continues, lefty swing, the kill for Nittany.
Again, it's that lefty swing from Nittany. Let's take a look at the phenomenal defense. Great hustle on both sides of the net. Take a look at that one-handed stab by Penn State. And then finally, the rally kill right there by Nittany, the lefty setter for Penn State. Well done.
Rolfson, and then a whistle on a net violation on Penn State. You mentioned earlier, Audrey, that's been an issue for the Nittany Lions with some of those unforced errors.
Yeah, they're really aggressive, and so far their blocking game looks phenomenal. They're doing really well, but in the past it has been an issue that Russ Rose has needed to address in practice.
4.5 blocks for Penn State so far in this set. Nebraska does not have a single block. They're looking for their first right there. Lee cross court, but it's out of play, and not a good start here for Simone Lee. She's now got 3 errors on 6 swings.
Right, and on the other hand, Franti, the other outside hitter for Penn State, doing really well. 3 kills, 0 errors, hitting .429.
Good bounce back for Franti after hitting negative in that match against Minnesota. Washington joust. Comes down on Penn State's side, plays continue. Tip from Amber Rolfson, it'll fall.
Well, Amber Ralston's got such great vision. She knows exactly where the defense is, pokes a little one right over top of the block, and right there, the blocker can turn around and play that ball, but there's got to be communication between the backcourt defense and the front court blockers.
Clipped off the net, but it's out of play. I believe it might have touched the antenna as well. Gonna look at Katie Rolfson. Rolfson twins in their senior season. So much expected of them when they came to the program, such highly touted recruits, and they deliver a national championship a year ago to fulfill all those expectations.
Yeah, they are phenomenal athletes and super focused. Really want to win a Big Ten title this year and go on to do big things in the tournament.
Another block by Penn State off the swing from Malloy.
The block for Penn State looking really good right now. And I like the movement of Tori Guerrel. Really quick and then reaching over with her hands so fast over that net.
This time off the hands. Holcomb chases that ball down. Boy, again, this time she'll terminate. Down to a 3-point lead as Andy Malloy will have a conversation with her head coach in John Cook. Seems she hasn't had the heat on every swing tonight.
Yeah, she places the ball really well and mixes up her shots. She doesn't have that thunderous hit, but she ends up finding some seams in the block and some holes in the defense.
Right at the net, put away by the Huskers.
And that's where getting the ball up is not good enough. You've got to control the dig. This time you'll see the overpass, and the advantage goes to the Huskers, and that was Hunter, the setter, with a kill.
Service error gives one right back to Penn State. Mentioned that Penn State has lost 3 consecutive matches, and you think about the reason they've lost 3 straight, they've been on the road. That's
right.
not the entire story, but Penn State typically much better at rec hall, so difficult to beat. They've already knocked off one #1 team at home this year in beating Minnesota.
Right, and all the losses on the road were to very good opponents. They lost to Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota, so tough road trips. They are certainly happy to be home tonight.
And Nebraska's been so good on the road this year, 6-0 away from the Devaney Center. In actual road matches, also good in neutral floor matches, but cross court there from Fecky, but it's out of play.
And right now the story for Penn State, too many hitting errors. Right now they're only hitting .097 for the match. So, 10 kills, 7 errors on 31 attempts. Not good for Nebraska.
Fecky, though, with another opportunity, she'll put it down.
Yeah, they really needed that one, not only to get back into this, but she needs to gain a little bit of confidence here tonight. See that nice high snap. Nebraska needs Fecky to deliver some big numbers from that left pin if they want to do well on Penn State's home court.
Fecky was so good a year ago against Penn State, not only here in University Park, but also in Lincoln. She averaged 4 kills per set in those 2 matches. Last season, Tori Guerrel with a great attack.
Well, if you can get the middle involved in the offense, boy, your game is going to get jacked up. And take a look at how she just goes up. Not a lot of court to hit at, but she's got a great snap on the ball and finds the court.
Guerrel, the redshirt freshman, out of Ontario. And Audrey, I know you love the Canadian players.
Oh, yeah. She's from my hometown.
Holman, there's a block for Franti. Make it 6.5 blocks in 1 set so far for Penn
That's
State.
unbelievable. Franti really doing a good job of getting to that pin quick, committing her hands over the net early, sealing the net, getting a big point for her team.
Penn State's block has them up in set 1. Penn State has 6.5 team blocks so far in this first set. They've been getting it done with a number of different players. Guerrel, Franti, and Washington, or how about a triple block as well?
That's right. I feel like Penn State came into this one scouting exactly what Nebraska does offensively, and I'll tell you what blocks do. They're not only easy points, but it frustrates the opponent. It makes the hitters think a little bit too much. Sometimes they start trying to create shots that aren't there because they don't want to get blocked. And this is going to be a tough one for Nebraska if Penn State continues with these incredible blocking numbers.
Nice play there by Fecky to find that back corner. Mentioned the blocks with the 6.5 for Penn State as a team. Franti involved with 4 blocks. That's 2 off of a career best for her, and we're not even done with the first set.
Penn State's passing game allows Guerrel to get involved in the offense. They look good. And look at how her shot differed that time from the last 2 kills that she got. Last time it was left back, this time right back. So good shot variation by Guerrel.
3 kills now for Tori Guerrel, and then back with a kill for Holman as Nebraska trying to claw their way back here in the first set. 3 kills for Holman on 6 swings.
Yeah, it was super important for Nebraska to get the first ball side out there. They did just that. Passing game on both teams is looking really good right now in the first set.
With a big swing.
I love the route that she runs here. She's in left front. Take a look at her coming in. She runs that slide approach, but she's inside the setter, finds that seam. Left side blocker for Nebraska has got to respect Washington. You've got to come in and help out with the block.
Washington, 13 kills, hit just .250 in the last 2 matches, but part of that is that the passing cuts down on her chances. If the passing isn't good, she doesn't get a lot of looks. Roll shot out of play, and Penn State closing in on a first set win. Now 9 attack errors in the first set for the Huskers. Service error gives one right back.
Yeah, we'll see what the Huskers are made of here. They're down by a few here in the first set. Will they rally? And will their block come alive? That's really been a strength for Nebraska. They really need to defend at a high level against this very strong Penn State team.
Nebraska leads the Big Ten in blocks per set in conference play with just under 3 per. They do not have a block in this first set. Rolfson. Franti at the 10-foot line. Chance for Amber Rolfson in the middle. White got a piece of it. Browerman chases it down. Free ball chance now for the Huskers. Coverage there from Washington on the lefty swing. Malloy gets to it. Good pursuit on both sides of the net. Down the line, out of play, point Nebraska.
Well, the rallies, Coach Cook called it. He said they're going to be long, they're going to be extended, and you just got to keep the ball alive. And Washington was going for the big kill. Look at the positioning there by Justine Wong-Orantes. Left foot on the line. Ball gets hit to her left. She knows it's out of bounds.
To 19 lead, trying to close out the first set. There's been so much history in rec hall for this Penn State women's volleyball program under Russ Rose. 7 national championships, 16-time Big Ten titles. You see the All-Americans, 6 All-Americans in 2008. Penn State, though, those 16 Big Ten titles, they won 10 of 11 Big Ten championships prior to the last 2 years. It's been a bit of a drought, not quite a long drought, but typically you see it every year for Penn State.
That's right, but the teams that Russ Rose puts on the floor year in and year out are phenomenal, and they're looking really good tonight as well.
Another hitting error from Simone Lee out of that back row attack. Penn State hitting 152, but Nebraska's hitting just 100 with those 9 attack errors. Wong-Orantes to serve. Washington!
And look at how everybody rallies around her. She is a leader. Look at that hit. There's nothing you can do when that ball gets hit that hard between the seams, straight down in the middle of the court. That's a blocks miss read right there.
Set point for Penn State. Rolfson trying to keep the Huskers in the first set. Dietering comes in. Maloney keeps it off the floor. Malloy keeps the Huskers alive.
And that's exactly what Malloy brings to this team. A lot of confidence, a lot of consistency. She sees the seam, has a great snap. Ball spinning, top spin, hits the floor. Good job to not bail on her team there, getting a big kill.
Dietering with her own dump over the net. Lee trying to end the first set. Another good attack by Malloy. Franti, all the effort she could muster to try to get that ball, but couldn't get a hand on it. It appears to be okay.
Right, well, that's a statement right there. She is going to go and play hard defensively. Look at her. Again, solid effort on Franti's part to try and save that point.
Timeout with just a 2-point deficit now as the Huskers trying to mount a comeback. We'll be back in a moment. As we expected between Nebraska and Penn State, we've got a good one brewing between these two teams in Rec Hall. The Nittany Lion faithful want to see Penn State end this first set, but Nebraska is not going anywhere easy.
That's right. You know, and at this point, Nebraska has to play clean volleyball. They've been known to do it in the past. It is a great challenge for them. We'll see if they can rally and win this first set.
Lee ends set one.
A tremendous pass there by Franti, and Lee hammering that ball hard. What a statement hit that was to win the first set.
Number 11, Penn State with the first set victory over number 1, Nebraska. Truck 2, we'll see if Nebraska can respond. The Huskers, our State Farm State of Success tonight, 8-0 after their loss to Ohio State on October 1st. And they have won 15 of the last 17 sets. And look at all of the ranked teams that they have defeated.
Yeah, it was a tough slate there for them, but they rose to the challenge. What a great run they had there, and they really need to come alive tonight. And I'll tell you what, Katie Rolfson for Nebraska needs to be more productive from that right pin. In that first set, she's hitting negative numbers, so if she doesn't produce better numbers, Nebraska will really struggle here tonight.
Nebraska is 10-1 this season against the top 25, 4-0 against the top 15. 8 of their first 10 Big Ten matches were against ranked opponents. Schedule's a little easier in the second half of the Big Ten season, but not much. And Heidi Thielen trying to make a statement to start set 2.
Well, that's the other young lady that needs to play well, the right attacker for Penn State, Thielen, and she takes that set and does a tremendous job of hitting between the block. Ball goes straight down, and her team feels very confident that they will continue to roll here in the second set.
First kill of the night for Heidi Thielen. The tip, good coverage there by Holcomb. Holman tried to go for the back line, but it was long.
One of the things Coach Cook said is that Nebraska has to manage the environment tonight. They have to have a balanced attack and win the long rallies. Right now, this environment at Penn State and Penn State's blocking game has really gotten into Nebraska's head.
Not a good attack there from Fecky, and here's Franti. But a block and the first stuff of the match for Nebraska.
And that is an amazing stat there because Nebraska's block has typically been very, very strong. You see Fecky taking that right pin, and usually she's a left side player, so she does a really good job. She's very tall, reaches over, and presents a challenge for Penn State's hitter.
Penn State not in system. Washington, good layout there from Wong-Orantes. And then put down by Nebraska.
Andy Malloy, what a great cross-court shot. She's playing very, very well tonight. It's her 5th kill, hitting .333 right now for the night. So nice cut shot there. That was a very sharp, hard shot by Malloy.
Dieterine and Wong-Orantes got a hand on it. Katie Rolfson, White keeps it alive. Malloy again and another kill.
Well, these are the long rallies that we expected to see. Both of these teams have great defensive games. Block we've already talked about for Penn State, but that time Malloy beats the block. She's really been such a phenomenal player here in the first 2 sets, really holding a lot of the offensive weight on her shoulders.
7 kills, you mentioned so far for Malloy. The Big Ten high is 11. Looks like she could get there, but that one out of play. Another hitting error for Nebraska.
And the thing that most people don't see, the ball was set a little bit tight. She was trying to get around the block. She didn't want to hit low seam, so she was trying to go for that line shot. There just wasn't enough space on the court for her to hit.
Block was there for Penn State, but again, the coverage from Nebraska and Wong-Orantes. Washington collides at the stanchion, but still a transition kill. Holcomb and Washington collide. It appears they're both okay, but that was a scary moment.
Nebraska's keeping the ball alive, but it seems like these players have come to play some defense on Penn State's side of the net. And they are aggressive and they're going after it. She seems just fine, doesn't she?
Overpass, off the serve. Katie Rolfson will set over to Malloy, who tools the block.
She's showing a variety of shots tonight. I like her transition footwork, getting her off the net so she's got that big aggressive approach, and she just comes in, busts in hard, wipes that ball right off the blocker's hands.
17 kills last weekend for Malloy, and she's got 8 so far, hitting .300. Washington, usually she puts that down.
Yeah, and usually she has a little bit more of an approach. That ball was underset a little bit. Not sure if that was intentional or a setting error, but she's really good when she goes all the way to that pin.
Lee off the hands.
You're seeing some great offensive swings by Lee here. You can see just the margin of error in blocking is so small. You've got to get over so that the ball is actually hitting your left hand if you're a right side blocker, not the right hand. So you want to seal that line a little bit more.
Another stuff off the attack of Katie Rolfson, and you see Tori Guerrel is fired up.
Yeah, right now they've got Katie's number. The movement is perfect. And that was Simone Lee. Wow, what a statement block.
The block for Lee, but Guerrel coming in, using that excitement for the rest of the team, and one that falls on the floor in front of Penn State. Everyone diving for it, couldn't get to the ball.
Yeah, and you know what will be interesting to see is how Katie Rolfson responds. She is an All-American, a 3-time All-American. Will she find shots? Will Simone Lee win that little battle there between the right side hitter for Nebraska, left side blocker in Lee?
Here's Lee, and the block for Nebraska. It did stay in.
What a great battle at the net we're seeing. Two very physically dominant teams right now. Great blocking ability, great hitting ability, and really it's going to come down to that serve pass game on both sides of the net.
Amber Rolfson again.
And when Katie struggles a little bit, who steps in? Amber, her sister. Take a look at the slide. Little touch shot there. Catches Penn State's defense on their heels a little bit there. Can't run through the ball if you're on your heels.
Off the block and out of play, and Nebraska opens up a 3-point lead on the kill from Malloy. 4-0 run for the Huskers. Again, the serving, keeping Penn State out of system. Here's Simone Lee. Malloy looking for that back corner, didn't get it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. She was trying to go for that line shot, and she just misses. A great attempt on her part. Penn State's giving her a lot of line to hit at, but she just can't seem to execute that line shot right now.
Not a good first contact for the Huskers. Teetering will go back to Simone Lee, who terminates.
The tempo set, fantastic. Quick to the outside. Lee's taking her first step as the setter is touching the ball, and that just proves to be too quick for Nebraska's block right now.
Tooling again is Malloy, and she's in double figures now.
Hey, we're not used to seeing Malloy be the one to carry the offensive weight on her shoulders, but she's doing a phenomenal job right now. 10 kills, 3 errors, hitting .280.
Again, her best effort of the Big Ten season has been 11 kills. She had a season high of 14 kills in the non-conference, and there's an ace from Albright.
You know, Annika Albright, she's missed her last couple serves here in the match. That time goes back and delivers a nice floater. Look how that ball drops right at the point of contact in Franti's arms. And, you know, Franti has been an up and down sort of passer this year, and so we know that they're going to pick on her in serve receive.
Penn State fortunate that the overpass didn't cost them, but then a second chance to put one away, and Nebraska won't miss it.
Not sure what happened there. Free ball came over. Dietering is in the back court, and usually you release, as a setter will, and set the offense. And I'm not sure if Dietering thought that the ball was going to be set all the way to the right pin for her hitter.
Right side for Thielen.
Well, that's a big swing by Thielen. You know, against Michigan in that Penn State loss, she only hit, well, she hit negative 143. So if she gets rolling tonight and is able to produce some offensive numbers from that right pin, boy, that balanced attack is what Penn State's been looking for all year.
And the balanced attack is what they had against Minnesota when they knocked off #1 Minnesota in that match. Thielen had 14 kills. We talked about it, the production has not been high lately, but add in a block.
Yeah, Guerrel is really impressing me. I've always thought she was a good player, but she's already there. She's banking on that ball being set to the left side. Doesn't even really have to move. She moves before the ball is even set. So well done by Tori Guerrel.
5 blocks for Guerrel, 9th match this season where she's had 5 blocks or more. Thielen again, and another kill.
Well, the block did their job on Nebraska's side of the net, slowing that ball down. You've got to be able to move quickly behind the block. Quick change of direction sometimes is necessary by defensive players when the ball gets deflected, so that really should have been a dig by Nebraska.
Tooling off the block is Amber Ralston for the Huskers. Nebraska with the 13-11 lead. First set went to Penn State 25-22, but the Huskers will not be phased in this building. Obviously, they play in the Devaney Center with the 8,000 plus fans, but they have confidence winning matches here in Rec Hall because they've done it already in their history as a Big Ten member.
Right, and they have been challenged a lot this season, and they've had some great come-from-behind wins, so they know how to battle. They've got a lot of competitive maturity, but Penn State's really letting them have it here tonight. We'll see how this one plays out. It could really go either way. Exciting volleyball.
Thielen misses down the line, and another point for Nebraska, and as we saw Penn State climb back within 1, up to another 3-point lead. So we've seen runs now for both teams.
Yeah, and against Nebraska, you have to play really good volleyball. You've got to play consistently well. So that pass has got to be popped up to the setter so that they can run a multiple hitter offense.
Both of these teams ranked in the top 10. Defensively, Franti cross court.
Well, a great swing by Franti. Everybody knew the ball was going to go left side. Not many options here with the pass. But take a look at how she lands perpendicular to the net, dropping that thumb, making that cross court shot something that, you know, is going to just score every time.
4 kills now for Allie Franti. Hunter sets Fecky. Huskers with the 15-12 lead. Michaela Fecky adds another, and they're on top in set 2. Rutgers tomorrow night, and you can see that on BTN+. Thielen with another opportunity. The pursuit from Wong-Orantes. Franti. Lane out was White, couldn't get to it, and the Huskers will extend the lead.
Another good block by Nebraska. Again, the blocking game has been won by Penn State, but here in the second set, boy, Brianna Holman just really doing a good job of reaching back. That ball just lands in court.
A good first contact for Penn State. Pump set out to Katie Rolfson. Another stuff. It will go down as the block for Nebraska. Browerman doing everything she can, but the Huskers now up to a 5-point edge.
So the block is on the move, but again, as they're moving to their left, they're reaching back at the point of contact in order to seal that net. So well done by Nebraska's block to get them back into this match.
3 blocks now for the Huskers. And Audrey, what's the difference you've seen here in the second set for the Nebraska block?
Well, they're a little bit more disciplined. They seem to be more mentally in-tuned into this second set than they were the first set. But the numbers right now offensively is what I'd like to talk about. Simone Lee really not doing well. We featured her in the Open and that she has to carry a lot of the offensive weight on her shoulders right now, just hitting .050. And Katie Rolfson on Nebraska's side of the net, again, hitting negative .250. So neither one of these standout hitters have gotten any momentum in the first 2 sets.
Penn State has traditionally done a good job against Katie Rolfson. Last year in 2 matches played, Katie Rolfson hit just 120 in both of those matches. Simone Lee, on the other hand, has been the consistent performer for Penn State. You go back to that match against Minnesota this past weekend, and Simone Lee, really the only Penn State player who had a good night. 17 kills, hit .306 with a career-high 11 digs, but it wasn't enough. You talked about the balance, and balance is key for both of these teams. If you're going to win in the Big Ten, in the most difficult conference in the nation, you have to have a balanced attack.
Right, and that really stems from the passing game on serve receive, and also on defense. You know, you just don't want to dig the ball. You want to dig the ball so that the setter is running an offense, not just putting the ball high to the pin.
We'll see if Nebraska can close out this second set. Still a ways to go, but in the driver's seat with the 17-12 lead over Penn State. A little bit better here in the second set in terms of errors, just 5 attack errors for Nebraska. Penn State, 7 kills and 6 errors in the second set. Part of that due to the block of the Huskers. Washington!
Oh, what a route she ran. She's in the left front area of the court. Take a look at her foot speed, and it's hard to match up that speed as you're moving laterally on the block because she's just sprinting to that pin. So great speed and great effort there by number 15, Haley Washington, for Penn State.
Joust at the net. Fecky on the right side, it'll fall.
So Fecky stayed right, and she is showing that she's comfortable at both pins. Hard to track her down. She gets off the net quickly, hits high off the blocker's hands, and again, backcourt defense there on the left side for Penn State. A little slow picking that ball up off the block.
Fecky, the sophomore out of Iowa, the NCAA Most Outstanding Player a year ago in Nebraska's national championship. Here's Lee out of the back row.
A tremendous play there by Lee. Gets the dig and then makes herself available for that back row attack. She's showing that she has good defensive skills as well as offensive skills.
That match against Minnesota was her second double-double of the season. You see the numbers for her, not hitting for a high percentage, but with the number of swings she gets, there's an opportunity in the remainder of this match to change that going forward.
Absolutely.
Malloy again, and another kill for her, up to 11 to tie that Big Ten high.
Yeah, good for her. She's really feeling it tonight, and all smiles. And again, what I like about teams is when one player's not playing well, somebody else elevates their level of play in order to make up a little bit of that gap. So right now, it's all Malloy helping out her Nebraska Huskers.
Sixth kill, there's the ace though for Wong-Orantes. I was gonna say the sixth kill of the set for Andy Malloy, but Justine Wong-Orantes adding to the serve-receive woes for Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State did really well in the first set on serve-receive, and now I think Nebraska's serving game is gaining confidence, and they're really putting some pressure on Penn State's passers.
Huskers with the 6-point lead, trying to bounce back and take the second set after dropping the first. So much history and so many great matches between these two teams. Penn State, Nebraska, 11 national titles overall. The Huskers adding last year's title, and 8 of the last 10 national champions have come from Nebraska and Penn State out of the Big Ten Conference.
I mean, that stat there, just kind of process that. That is amazing. Both of these coaches do phenomenal jobs, but their assistant coaches also work very hard to bring in the best talent to both of these programs.
There's great talent on both sides of the net that they recruit and bring in, but also really good talent that they have transfer into the
Right.
program, including Andy Malloy.
Yeah, and you know, she's done a really good job here tonight, hitting different kinds of shots. We see cross court, off the blocker's hands. And again, she just has a high point of contact, not really hard, but just well placed and a smart hitter, and that's what an experienced transfer will bring to the floor.
Audrey, we mentioned that Andy Malloy's season high is 14 kills. She has a career high of 24, but that was with Baylor and in the Big 12. The Big Ten is an entirely different story than the rest of the country in terms of your quality of opponent.
Right, and when kids transfer to the Big Ten Conference, even though they were successful in other conferences, they find it challenging because they can't let up at all, and they really do notice a difference in the quality of play and the commitment that they have to bring to the floor and play their best level of volleyball every single night.
Another chance for Haley Washington. And Katie Rolfson can't save it, so another kill for Washington.
Well, Washington doesn't only get kills, but she brings up the spirit on the floor. You know, she's a great kid, tons of energy. You just have to love that kind of personality on your team.
She's joked with us in the past that she's just naturally obnoxious. And she says she gets it from her dad, but that's just an excitement and exuberance that she likes to bring to this team.
Yeah, and you know, you need all kinds of different personalities. You wouldn't want a whole team of that kind of personality, so you need some serious kids, you need some goofballs, and she definitely has great mojo on the floor.
Some serious effort from Amber Rolfson in the middle for the Huskers. Get another look.
So great cutback shot. She's facing left back, hits across her body over her left shoulder. Well done.
6 kills on 10 attacks now for Amber Rolfson, second on the team in kills. Simone Lee skies for that point.
Well, Dietering got her hitter one-on-one. She jump sets, and you can see Nebraska's middle blocker jumping with the setter, and that puts Lee one-on-one with the outside, and boy, she will just put that ball down. Against one block, boy, she will terminate.
Overpass off the serve. Good opportunity for Penn State. Thielen. Lee again!
So one of the things, in order to be a good out-of-system attacker, you have to delay your approach. You're going to see how she delays here slightly, then goes in fast. You don't want to go in too quick and then wait and reach back. So good job for Simone Lee delaying her approach and making that kill possible.
Amber Rolfson answers for the Huskers.
When Amber Rolfson is hitting this slide, you know the passing game for Nebraska is on. And there you see they're feeling confident. They're playing a different level here in the second set than they were in the first set. Different level of play by Nebraska.
Different level of serving as well.
Right.
See what Nebraska can do with a free ball. Rolfson hammers it.
So Rolfson, the hit prior to that one went all the way to the pin. This time, her approach is slightly short of the pin, and that opens up the angles there, and she finds a seam between the block.
8 kills for Amber Rolfson. She had just 5 kills in the last 2 matches and hit negative. You speak of different level of play.
Right.
Certainly the change for her from the last weekend, even though those were 2 Nebraska victories. Joust at the net. Albright keeps it alive. Fecky off the hands. Lee, and a huge block for Nebraska.
Well, isn't it interesting? The first set, it was all Penn State's block, and now Nebraska has come ready to block. Look at this. Great hands over the net, and then a little stare down after the point.
Set point for Nebraska. Huskers trying to even the match. They go to Amber Rolfson. Overpass the joust, and it's won by Hunter. Hunter beats Tori Guerrel for the point, and we are tied at 1 set apiece.
And that was a one-handed dump. It wasn't like she went over with 2, so very forceful, very aggressive play by Kelly Hunter. Let's take a look at this. Wiping it off there, you can see Guerrel slightly off the net with her right shoulder, not really fully over the net, so the advantage goes to Kelly Hunter.
Exactly what we expected between the Cornhuskers and the Nittany Lions. Huskers take set 2. We head to the intermission. This match plays out. The last 9 of the last 10 have gone at least 4 sets. The exception, the straight set sweep by Nebraska in Lincoln last November. Penn State faithful, hoping to will on their team as they've done so many times. Only 1 loss in this building for Penn State. That was against North Carolina during the non-conference season. A surprise when they lost in 5 sets. They would lose 3 straight matches in the non-conference season for the first time since 2002. And once again, they've lost 3 consecutive matches and trying to avoid their 4th consecutive loss. Fecky starts off the 3rd with a kill.
Oh, Fecky just pounds that ball down, keeping the ball in front of her hitting shoulder. Elevates really well. And boy, that's a nice way to start that 3rd set.
Fecky with 6 kills now on the night. Washington answers right back.
It's all about the passing game right now for Penn State. When they pass the ball, and Dietering is in front of that 10-foot line, she sets great tempo to Washington, and Washington really just smacks that ball so hard. It's really hard to match her speed that she shows on the approach.
And out of play, tooling off the block was Fecky on the right side this time. Audrey, what's the difference you've seen from Michaela Fecky? She had a great freshman season, but in her sophomore campaign, how has her game grown?
Well, her offensive numbers are better, so she's hitting more shots. She's got a lot of confidence, but the other thing I like about Fecky, this year, she's playing in the L1 position, so her blocking game has really elevated. And typically, she is a good server. She missed right there, but you know, she has just grown in confidence, and so when she does see hands in front of her, she knows what to do with the ball.
Mentioned she was the most outstanding player of the NCAA championship. All Big Ten freshman team, former #2 recruit in the country. That one out of play, and the tough night for Katie Rolfson continues.
Yeah, and I'm really paying attention to the tempo of the set. It seems to be okay. I think right now she's trying to go high off the hand. She's trying to make a shot. Her approach is a little bit slow, so just a little bit off tonight. We'll see if she's able to kind of bring her game back into rhythm.
Long run there for Dietering and then Simone Lee, but fortunate that the Penn State setter was still there on the coverage. Malloy, a little bit of the off-speed, tricked Holcomb.
Yeah, you know, typically you see that ball going back to Rolfson on the right pin. This time, all the way out to the left pin. Rolfson, as we mentioned, struggling a little bit, and this is what's great about Nebraska. They've got so many talented players that when one person's struggling, you go to the person who's hot.
That person is Annie Malloy. They'll go to her once more. Tipped from Washington. Roll shot, another kill for Malloy.
Well, let's give Rolfson some credit on the block there. Slowing the ball down, getting a good touch, which turns into a transition attack here. Then a nice finesse shot there, nice roll shot right in the middle of the court.
Washington.
You know, Dietering really doesn't hide who she's setting. You know it's going to go to Washington, so why the middle blocker for Nebraska got delayed there, I don't know. I would just release on Washington because she gets the ball when that ball is passed perfectly.
Maloney with the up, but it's almost an easy kill for Guerrel. Dietering with the lefty swing. Free ball chance for Penn State. Another good coverage from Maloney, and then Katie Rolfson the swing. Long rally here in the third, tied at 4 early on. And Washington with the up in the back row. And Simone Lee ends the rally for Penn State.
Well, what is truly remarkable is Haley Washington's backcourt defense keeping the ball alive. You see her clapping as Simone Lee goes up to hit. Like, hey, don't waste this dig. Get a kill for me, baby.
Not put away at the net. Good chance there for the Huskers. Couldn't take advantage. Amber Rolfson sets back to Katie Rolfson, but another error.
You know, and I think what would help Katie out a little bit is if she gets a longer approach. She's taking a 2-step hop, and typically she's still able to score with that kind of approach. Not tonight. She's got to work a little bit harder on transition to get a deeper approach.
Franti couldn't dig that ball, and it's another kill for Malloy. Make it 14 now. She's tied her season high.
Franti rotating all the way to the line defensively, was in good position to dig that ball, but just couldn't handle it.
Not a good connection between Penn State, Dietering, and Guerrel, but Franti digs that ball. And the Huskers can't get to it as it'll fall. Awkward plays on both sides of the net.
And it's those plays where you just have to just stay with the play, you know, just put the ball high, take good rips on the ball. Simone Lee does just that, hitting high off the blocker's hands. And it's a little miscommunication there, the ball between two players. You want to call the ball, recall it, and typically it is the libero's ball to take if there's any confusion.
Take a moment to recognize Justine Wong-Orantes. She's got 15 digs in this match. She has now tied the Nebraska school record with Kayla Banworth for career digs, 1,706. Adding her name to the list of legends in Nebraska volleyball. That means a lot to her. Off the overpass, Hunter the kill.
Wow, what a great swing there. Overpasses are great. Great fun for the setter there. Look at how she celebrates. Boy, if you're a setter, you get an opportunity to swing at that one. You take advantage.
Into the net that time from Guerrel. Albright back in to serve for the Huskers. Lee, the block.
Boy, that's a tough swing. She was going for it, and the thing about the outside hitters, your job is to put the ball away. She was going for it. Takes this big swing at the ball, but hits a little low along the net. Low seam right into the belly of the block.
4-0 run. Penn State goes right back to Lee. Fecky the swing. Whistle on a net violation.
Guerrel wanting to get the block so bad. Just touched it, I believe, with her forearms as she's reaching over the net. Yep, you saw it there.
Key moment of this match here at 10-7 in the third. And the solo block for Amber Rolfson.
Well, Rolfson was not going to let Guerrel get a kill. She's staying home with her. She jumps. Timing was perfect. And then the thing about Rolfson, what she did well is seal the net, preventing her from hitting cross court.
Nebraska on a run here in the third set. They're up 11-7. Taking advantage of some of the errors by Penn State and forcing some of them as Michaela Fecky almost had another kill. That one, though, is long. She's looking for a touch call. She won't get it. But they look over to the bench, and the replay, the challenge review system is available, and John Cook is going to use it. We will take a look and see if there was a touch off that last swing from Michaela Fecky.
Well, Fecky loves that shot. When she doesn't have a great swing, a great approach, she's able to wipe the ball off the block. Talk about her improvement from last year to this year. It's these types of shots that she's really worked on, so we'll see if she was successful in getting a touch. Like you said, the challenge is there, so we'll get a chance to see the replay.
And there is no reason not to use it if you're either coach. There's no penalty against you. You don't lose a timeout if the challenge is wrong, but we'll take a look from a couple of different angles. Difficult to tell. That could have gone right between the two blockers. But
you're absolutely right.
could potentially have gone off the finger of Thielen. Hard to tell if there was a change of direction. That's the difficulty with how fast things are right at the net. We'll take another look. Now, can you say definitively? That's the thing. It needs to be definitive in the replay if they're going to change the call.
I kind of think it went right between the two blockers. Thielen's up. Guerrel. There's a space between the two of them.
And that ball did go long, so it is about the touch.
I'll tell you what I liked was Kelly Hunter's set. Look at that set. Facing the net, putting it up. But let's see here. All right.
Now, we don't always see the same angles as the officials,
right.
But our angle, it did not look like there was anything definitive. So I'm not sure what the officials saw to determine, but they said there was a touch and the point to Nebraska.
Right. It's a tough call, and they get to look at it. You know, they review it, a couple eyes looking at it. So
the system is also brand new.
Right,
it's something that was brought in last year. It has not been prevalent through every Big Ten venue. It's starting to be added. We saw it added mid-season for Penn State. They will be part of the NCAA tournament this year, but that's what happens early on. It's not a perfect system, and we know there'll be some changes as time goes on. Amber Rolfson with the smart play to get the corner.
Well, it's an easy ball that gets sent over by Penn State, which results in a great dig and then an even better placed tip down that line. So well executed by Nebraska. Good transition offense.
13-7 lead for the Huskers over Penn State in the third. Simone Lee and an error by her into the net, and this has not been Simone Lee's night.
No, Nebraska's serving her and pushing her back, so she's like 5 feet from the end line when she's starting her approach, so it seems to be what they're doing. Now they move her to the right side.
And Guerrel converts.
So a great coaching move by Russ Rose to move Lee out of the serve-receive pattern. She's on the right side. Thielen was on the left side. Ball goes to Guerrel in the middle, so they needed a side out. They got one by adjusting.
Got to go back to that last rally again and mention Justine Wong-Orantes, now the all-time leader in school history and career digs for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Obviously, she's focused on winning as a team, but it's special for her to get that new mark as Penn State trying to mount a comeback here.
Yeah, an awkward play there. Lucky that nobody got hurt. 2 Penn State players going after the ball. Guerrel just kind of tipping it over, getting a kill.
Lee out of the back row. And a block. The stuff. Guerrel and Thielen combine.
Well, that's a momentum shift. Blocks are great. Take a look at how they read it perfectly. Thielen reaching back to the middle of the court. Watch your hands at the last minute. You see the palms swiping it back to the middle of the court.
And it's down to a 14-10 lead. Timeout for Nebraska. As we look around some of the honors throughout the Big Ten Conference, Coyle for Iowa, the player of the week after her performance. What a great year for the Hawkeyes under Von Szymanski, and then Lohman in the middle, Carlini the center, Kendall Bierman for the Hoosiers, the freshman of the week. But certainly a player who's been honored often during her career for the Cornhuskers, Justine Wong-Orantes, last year's Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. And Audrey, we talk about her now setting this new all-time record for Nebraska, passing Caleb Banworth. What does that mean when you look at Nebraska volleyball that she's now added herself to the history of this program? She's done it already by being part of a national championship team like last year, but she now has an individual mark that if you're at the top of that list at Nebraska, that tells you how good a player she is.
Right, and you know what? I have a feeling Justine doesn't even really look at that. What she looks at the number 1 right there beside Nebraska, that's what she's all about. She's focused on team. She's got incredible skills, though. She's very courageous. We saw how she got just whacked in the head against Illinois, and, you know, she comes back and she's playing hard. She's playing for her team. So, you know, just a very courageous competitor there. Great skills, and she's a beach player, too. So she's just got all kinds of skills and just has great serve receive. Take a look at this here. This is where she gets hit. Wow.
To be playing again a week later.
Yeah.
Amazing she's back out there. But Audrey, you never look back at the Ohio State record books and try to find your name in there?
Actually, no, I don't. I really don't. But Justine, again, serve receive skills are incredible for her as well. We often overlook that sometimes, just look at her great digs, but her passing platform, really phenomenal.
Penn State making a change at the center position. They bring in their setter from a year ago, Weiskircher, who did play in that Minnesota match setting for the team, as she's getting some extended time here in the third with Penn State down by 5.
No, and it's never a good indication as far as I'm concerned when you're rotating your setters. It just means that, you know, you're unhappy with something, and I think the team kind of gets that feel from the coaching staff. Now, I'm not saying Russ Rose doesn't have his reasons, but, you know, obviously the offensive numbers are not great, but it's just not a good sign of consistency and, you know, what your offense is doing. And offense is so much a part of this game, so we'll see what Weiskircher can do to get her team back into this third set.
Franti. Here's Fecky, cross court.
No, Fecky hits that deep shot. Lee trying to play the ball above her head. And sometimes Lee does a great job defensively in that left back area, and sometimes a ball like that she just can't seem to handle. So, you know, she's got to kind of work on that backcourt defense, see what she can do.
Franti!
Well, it's nice to see Franti with that big, thunderous hit from the left side. You hear the smack. And that's a great shot right in the seam of that block. Again, she's a really effective hitter when she gets a full approach and keeps that ball in front of her right shoulder. Sometimes she tends to get under the ball a little bit, but certainly not that time.
Bump set this time will go over to Franti. The tip. Holcomb got to it. Holman the swing, but it's out of play.
Well, Simone Lee setting one from her knees. Wow, that's pretty tough. Weiskircher right now, as you said, the setter for Penn State, doing a decent job here of getting her team back into the swing of things. They seem to be more in offensive rhythm with her setting.
Hunter goes back to Katie Rolfson on the left side. Fecky the swing. Good coverage there by Wong-Orantes. Another chance for Rolfson on the roll shot. Franti goes off the hands. Rally continues. That swing will end it with Katie Rolfson coming through.
Well, Rolfson hitting that line shot. When her team needed her, she delivered. Take a look at that set, perfectly placed right over top of Weiskircher. And then Rolfson taking advantage of that lower block, shorter block in front of her, rips it down that line.
Just the third kill for Katie Rolfson. She's still hitting negative, but she does have 12 digs, so still trying to make her presence felt despite not having the best offensive night. Bump set from Katie Rolfson over to Malloy. There's Washington down the line.
No, it's just not the type of approach and swing that you expect from your All-American on Nebraska's side of the net, but certainly what you expect from Penn State's offense. Take a look at this lethal arm of Washington.
7 kills, hitting .333 with 4 digs and 2 blocks for Haley Washington. Katie Rolfson off the hands and down.
Well, there's a better approach, better swing. And I think you mentioned it, when one aspect of your game isn't great, you got to deliver some other way. So she has been playing pretty good defense, and right there, a smart shot. She's got some big physical kids in front of her, so good job by her to wipe it off the blocker's hands.
Service there, cuts it back to a 3-point third set. Justine Wong-Orantes, typically you don't see her with those kind of mistakes, but again, we always talk about you want to be aggressive from the service line, and from time to time you're going to have those errors.
Right, and not only do you want to be aggressive, you want to serve between passers, even serve high shoulder of a passer, so there's really some deliberate things you're trying to do, which really sometimes makes those errors, you know, unavoidable when you're really going for the risky serve.
Taylor Kraus in for Penn State to serve. And then Amber Rolfson gets a side out right away without the best connection, but the tip, she got a finger on it.
Right, so drop off blockers. If you're not going to block, you got to dig. And right there you see momentum going back instead of forward from Penn State's drop off blockers.
Rolfson now the third Husker into double figures as she's hitting over 500 and has 5 blocks. Here's Katie Rolfson to serve in the bottom of the net.
Well, that serve sort of just kind of accentuates where her head is right now. She's really struggling. That is not a good miss serve. We talk about what an aggressive serve looks like. One that hits the bottom of the net, just not very good.
That one clipped off the tape from Weiskircher, and you see the 7 service errors for Nebraska. Simone Lee brings the power on that swing, and great pursuit from Justine Wong-Orantes, but it was to no avail. The kill for Lee.
Yeah, so it will be interesting to see if Nebraska can maintain this third set without Rolfson's offensive ability. Penn State really taking advantage of the fact that Nebraska is really not in rhythm from the right side attacker.
Malloy, however, has been in rhythm all night.
Yeah, so she's been the saving grace here. Every time she gets a set, she does something smart with the ball. If she feels that the kill is there, she takes advantage, maybe a block that's not set up, and she goes for it. If the kill is not there, she doesn't make a lot of errors. She keeps the ball in play.
See if Nebraska can cut out the service errors. Every time it looks like they've gotten the momentum in this third set, they make an error, and Penn State's back in it. Lee gets the touch.
Now Lee's starting to warm up. That was her 12th kill. Take a look at that approach, hitting over top of Hunter. That's a really crucial point. You just can't let Nebraska get too far ahead of you. So right now, this is a critical point to try and narrow down that gap there.
Fecky. And they're going to say that was outside the antenna.
Now let's take a look at this again. Now the ball touches the antenna is why they signaled that. You see the line judge waving his flag there. This ball touched the antenna.
Field, and we're tied.
Well, it's interesting. Thielen's an interesting player because she's quiet, and then she comes in with a big kill here. But Weiskircher doing a good job of moving that ball around and putting the ball exactly where Thielen needs it to score down the line. Let's take a look at this again. There's a big gap there between Fecky and the antenna, so a smart shot by Thielen. You can see again. She was facing cross court, her arm, hand finishes down the line.
All tied up at 20 in the third set in Happy Valley. This weekend, it's a full day of action with a triple header. First, Rutgers hosts Indiana, followed by Purdue and Minnesota. Then in primetime, here in Happy Valley, Penn State takes on Iowa. Coverage starts at 10:30 Eastern with BTN Tailgate tomorrow on BTN and streaming live on BTN To Go. So our BTN team ready for tomorrow night. Kevin Kugler, Lisa Byington, and our BTN production crew having a great time. JW enjoying it. Got to do a little dancing. Great house couple of Andrews. Denny's in there. Everybody's ready to go for tomorrow night. Team we work with often on volleyball as well, and getting a chance to take in the match rather than work on the match. Maybe we're going to see a little different production elements the next time we work with that crew.
Quite possibly. I'm glad that they're enjoying it, getting a different perspective being courtside.
So a race to 5 points. Tied at 20 in the third set. These two teams, we knew we were going 4, but it's a question of whether or not we're going 5 between these two teams. And last year it was a 5-setter in this building when Nebraska came back to win and knock off Penn State. Penn State trying to go up 2-1 at home. Huskers trying to not let this set slip away. And Amber Rolfson making plays.
Yeah, getting a little lucky there. That ball goes cross court, but kind of trickles and moves along the net there. So, hey, it all goes down as a kill, right?
Amber Rolfson with 11 kills. She was the Big Ten Player of the week prior to this one, after her 2 16-kill efforts and those wins against Wisconsin and Minnesota. Weiskircher tried to go herself. Nebraska send it back.
Well, Brianna Holman a little surprised, a little late on the block. And take a look, she jumps. Oh, actually, that was Fecky. Fecky a little late. Again, sometimes they're not scripted. You got to just react to what you get.
2 important points out of the timeout for Nebraska that were a bit unconventional. They will take them, though. They have led this set by 5 points at one point in the third. Penn State has clawed their way back into it, but now the Huskers 3 points away from taking the third set and leading this match 2-1. Franti on a tough set. The tip. They're going to say there was a pancake. Feeling down the line, out of play. Is that going to get Russ Rose up with the green card?
Well, let's take a look and see if that ball was down hard. There was a body in front of the hand. And the ball down the line goes out of bounds.
But it would be the earlier moment whether or not that ball went down or if it was a pancake for Nebraska, and the officials will take a look at it. Our second challenge of the night, the first one from Penn State, as Nebraska challenged earlier and got a call that from the replays we looked at did not appear to be a touch, but let's see if this ball does get down. Can't tell from that angle.
Right, her body's in front of it. Clearly it's going to be tough to see that one.
Now the question is, did that hit the floor and then come off of the forearm or the wrist of Katie Rolfson?
Yeah, the back of her hand. So, you know, her fingers are taped up too, which it's really hard to see, you know, clearly see if it is the ball hitting the floor or is the ball hitting her hand. Let's take, oh, that's good right there. Looks clean to me.
Again, it's hard to find anything definitive in that replay. So if it isn't definitive, it should remain the Nebraska point.
Yep.
So that time, nothing definitive. Last time, we didn't see anything definitive either, but the call was overturned. Again, we are seeing different replays than the officials. The challenge review system is based not just on the replays we see,
right,
but ones that are available in-house to the officials.
Right, so possibly a different angle that, you know, is a little bit clearer than what we can see. But anyway, you know Russ Rose is going to milk this one. Just kind of change momentum a little bit. This really forces the server for Nebraska to focus and put in a tough serve.
Kendall White, the Penn State libero, having a discussion with the up official. And relaying that message to Russ Rose. Third set, three-point lead for the Huskers. Service error number 8 for Nebraska.
Well, that's exactly what you want to do. Ice the server. Russ Rose does it perfectly. Not only calls for a challenge, but then sends his captain up, ask a question. Come on over, tell me what the ref said.
Always different elements of strategy, and we've seen some different ones now with the use of the challenge as well. Lee can't dig the ball, and Nebraska has set point in the third.
Again, Lee in that left back area. Lots of balls coming her way. Sometimes she's able to handle it that time. The ones that are high, she really struggles with. So just a difficult part of defense that you got to get good at if you're going to play the left back area of the court.
But another service error giving life to Penn State.
Yeah, these are unfortunate, unforced errors right now. Nebraska will look at this and be upset by how they served here in the tail end of the third set, just really letting Penn State back into this set.
That one is long and an attack error. It's down to a 1-point lead. Could we be going to extra points?
And all Penn State had to do was stand there. 2 missed serves, hitting error. They're right back in the third.
Fecky, though, trying to end the set for a second time. Albright plays that ball. Here's Katie Rolfson cross court, and Nebraska wins the third.
Well, Katie Rolfson's been struggling all night. When her team needs her, gets the set-winning swing with a cross-court kill.
Nebraska hangs on for a third set victory, as despite some service errors, they come away with the win in the third, and they lead this match 2-1 over Penn State. We'll come back with the fourth on BTN. A year ago in the first meeting between these two teams in Happy Valley, Penn State went up 2-0 on October 2nd as they were the #1 team in the nation coming off back-to-back national titles. But then Nebraska, after the slow start, fought their way back and won it in the 5th, ending Penn State's 33-match win streak as the Huskers knocked off #1.
Yeah, Nebraska showed grit. They stood tough in the battle and walked away with a W. So what a great matchup that was.
And a little bit of a parallel to this year. It was a slow start tonight for Nebraska as well. And once they started playing the typical level that we see from them, they took control of the match. So the 2-1 lead for the Huskers as we start the 4th set. Nebraska hoping to close it out here in the 4th. Penn State wants to force a decisive 5th. Simone Lee with the first chance of the 4th set. Weiskircher still setting for Penn State, and the kill for Lee.
I'm really impressed with Kendall White, the libero for Penn State. She reads the defense so well, moves before the point of contact, digs the ball in the backcourt, and then it allows the transition offense for Penn State to run smoothly.
Another chance for Holman, who hammers it.
Yeah, there's just no answer for that. She takes control of that ball, swings high and hard, and hits it back to right back. You can see it goes right between Haley Washington's legs. You got to get down low, make an attempt on that. If you're standing high, you don't have a shot.
Just 4 kills on 14 swings for Holman. And another service error, make it 10 now for Nebraska. With the errors becoming an issue, Audrey, as a coach, do you tell your team to back off being aggressive? I mean, what do you change? What do you try to do?
Well, I think you go for targets instead of maybe velocity, so you go for certain people who are struggling in serve receive as opposed to going for that really, really hard serve, the flat serve. Just try and pick on a person.
Katie Rolfson coming alive in the latter portion of this match.
Yeah, Rolfson talked about how she's been struggling. Well, she certainly doesn't show any sign of struggle there with that attack, one-on-one. And then I like just how she hits that ball down the line. She's facing cross court with her hips, hand, arm, finishing line.
Lee on the right side connects for the Nittany Lions.
Well, Penn State will need Lee to get her share of kills. You can see right there, Nebraska's block is inside the court, has to hustle outside to get to Lee.
Audrey, we've talked about talent on both sides of the net. You think of the senior class for Nebraska. They were the #1 recruiting class when they came out of high school. The junior class for Penn State, the #1 recruiting class out of high school. There's so much high-level talent. Now, Nebraska has met the expectations, winning the national title last year, going to try to go after another this year. Penn State, their junior class has said, we need to take ownership of this team, especially when the seniors are not ones who see much playing time.
Right. You know, kids come to these programs to win championships. That is their goal. They've got the best coaches on both benches, so they truly believe that they can compete at a high level. We're seeing great volleyball right now. So either one of these teams can come out with a victory tonight, but you are absolutely right. Recruiting is the lifeline of a program, and you got to win with stellar athletes. That's what both of these programs are able to get.
It's so incredible that both of these programs are the ones who have those #1 classes. Now, you're not going to have them every year because players see that Katie Rolfson, Amber Rolfson are out there, and they're not going to get a time in a certain position. Same story for Penn State. But it seems like every few years, a #1 class for the Huskers or the Nittany Lions, and that includes Haley Washington as one of those big-time recruits.
Yeah, we saw this route from her before. She starts on the left pin. When the pass is good enough for that slide to be set, she just takes off, and she is trusting that that ball is going to be in the perfect spot, elevates off one foot, swings big, and usually swings back cross court.
Rolfson. Amber puts it down and continues her fantastic night with 12 kills.
Yeah, we talk about how difficult it is to block the slide. It's just the speed of the approach, and then if the ball is set well, the hitter has a variety of shots to hit, but naturally they tend to swing cross court. So if the middle blocker does not close, the advantage goes to the slide attacker.
Weiskircher at the 10-foot line. Franti the swing. Washington, nice move from her.
Well, and let's make sure we note that Weiskircher is back in the fourth set here to set the offense. She seems to be setting great tempo to Washington, and that's really all you want if you're Penn State. You got to get your big hitters in rhythm. Washington certainly feeling it now, running that slide.
Hunter has to come behind the 10-foot line. Penn State's block ready for Fecky. Here's Lee off the top of the block.
So what I'm noticing from Weiskircher that I didn't think she did last time she got in the last match, she's setting lower and faster. So I like the tempo of this set. It's really forcing Nebraska's block to get their running shoes on and race to the pin.
Fecky responds for the Huskers.
Now she is just so consistent. She sees the cross-court shot, and it's just that high shot off the blocker's hands. Really tough to get.
Lee once more.
All right, so what I'm seeing from Franti, you mentioned, do you take a little bit off the serve? They're going for Franti. She can pass the balls that aren't served incredibly tough to her. So she's handling the ball well, putting it right up to the setter, and that makes all the difference in the world for this Penn State team.
Malloy Franti has talked about how much she has to focus out there because every team goes after her in serve receive, but then she also still has to try to get her production offensively. And there's not really a moment where she can take a mental lapse on the floor for Penn State. Holman straight down on that swing.
Now Dietering back in for serve. But take a look at this dynamic swing, one-on-one, and I just love the sharp angles that these middles are able to hit when they're one-on-one. It is so incredible how they elevate. That ball's hitting about 12 feet from the net.
Both teams airless so far in the fourth, and seen a bit of high level of play, higher than we saw earlier, as that one comes back and goes off of Guerrel.
So Russ Rose right now running sort of a modified offense here with the setters coming in certain situations. Right now we see Weiskircher back in for Penn State, but Nebraska's block really heating it up right now, getting some easy points.
The bump set goes to Malloy. Lee with the tip. And sent back, but out of play by Holman.
Yeah, frustrating error there. You got the whole deep court open. Let's take a look at how she taps that ball. Maybe a mental error right there. You got the whole back court. Just plop it there deep, get the point. Go back and serve.
And now Weiskircher on the service line for Penn State. Tip from Katie Rolfson. Block there for Nebraska. And too many touches on Penn State's side of the net. All tied up at 9 in the fourth. Nebraska hitting 223 for the match. Penn State hitting 159. Guerrel terminates for the Nittany Lions.
Kendall White for Penn State putting up a great pass. Look at where the setter's setting that ball from, right in the setter's pocket, able to run a 31. Again, it's great job by Guerrel, but really stems off the arms of White.
Guerrel had 5 blocks early on in this match, just 1 since, and there's Katie Rolfson again for the Huskers.
Both teams right now Great side-out offense, taking good swings at the ball because the pass is allowing the setter to spread that ball out. Rolfson seems to be playing a little bit more to her level here in the third set.
Guerrel again on a tough set from Weiskircher.
Now, Weiskircher does a great job of keeping her back to the net, making sure she doesn't touch the net on a tight pass. Take a look at how she rotates a little bit, shoulder off the net, pumps that ball to the middle.
And tooling off the block is Malloy, who continues to use the Penn State defense.
Yeah, she's really using Thielen's hands right now as a way to get points. So you have to be disciplined on the block. And these outside hitters, they train for that moment. They look, take a moment off the block, or I'm sorry, off the ball, look into the block, see hands, and go for it.
Franti and the roof block from the Huskers.
Amber Rolfson has got great blocking technique, fast feet. She waits till the ball is set and then reads perfectly. Great fast feet, gets her to the pin quickly, and really is challenging Franti right now.
And that was going to be a tough dig for anybody, even one of the best liberos in the history of Nebraska volleyball.
Yeah, that has a striking resemblance to the swing that really hurt Justine Wong-Orantes. She was able to get her arms under it that time. But boy, if that ball went any higher, it would have gone for her head like it did in the Illinois match.
Fecky. White with the up, then Lee out of the back row. Good diving effort from Rolfson. Franti, the off speed, will go down as a point for Penn State.
Well, what I like about Penn State, their defense adjusts here. They pick up the tip perfectly, the short tip, and then they're able to get a good transition swing, a good transition tip deep to that line.
Tough bump set, but Fecky still converts.
And not the best pass by Nebraska. We all knew it was going to go left side with that bump set. Fecky showing why. She's got kind of All-American written all over her with that great point there for her team.
11 ties now in the fourth set alone. Washington. Albright, and the Penn State block puts it down.
Well, Washington just waiting to see what kind of attack Albright was going to place over the net. She's there. That's her job. You just want to stay at the net if you're a middle on a back row attack, on a roll shot delay. She does a perfect job of reading the swing of Annika Albright.
Hunter sets Holman. And Penn State can't keep it in play, and the kill for Brianna Holman.
That's Holman's 6th kill so far. She's hitting 118 on the night. Again, I really think her numbers are a bit lower because the passing game right now for Nebraska is not allowing the setter to get the ball in Holman's hands.
Do you credit the serving for Penn State as what's keeping the passing game off for Nebraska?
Yeah, I do. I mean, they're serving well.
There's a nice roll shot there from Simone Lee.
Penn State serving well, Simone Lee hitting well.
And Penn State has the 15-14 lead in the fourth. Fourth set, Penn State has a 1-point lead over Nebraska. And just 8 matches remain in the Big Ten Conference season, including this one for each team. And Penn State, you look at their upcoming schedule, the next 5 matches, obviously not as many ranked teams as they've gone through the stretch as of late, but they will go to Lincoln, and we know how difficult it is to win in Devaney.
Absolutely, and you know, that Maryland team with Steve Aird, the former assistant for Penn State, who'd love to knock Penn State off, I'm sure.
Steve Aird and Maryland knocking off Ohio State just over a week ago. So they're familiar with taking down ranked opponents. Right now, Penn State just trying to keep this match going. They've got the lead, but an emphatic kill from Rolfson.
Now that's a big-time kill there. She used to play that outside position, feels very comfortable swinging there, and she takes advantage of a block that is not well formed in front of her, rips it right between the two blockers.
Lee down the line, and initially the Huskers reacted like it was their point, but Penn State will get another look.
A nice push there by Weiskircher to get that ball all the way. Boy, the linesperson called it in. That was a tight one.
And we'll get another look at it as there is a challenge, the second challenge review, as the replay will be looked at for Nebraska. First one went Nebraska's way when we thought there was no touch. It was called a touch, and let's see if this one gets the line.
It really, in my opinion, does not look like it is in. It looks like it is out of bounds.
Is that definitive, though? Is again, if there's a little bit of a question, now there again from this. We have multiple angles. It was just whistled that it was out, and it is Nebraska's point. But in the angles that we've seen, it's one of those things, if there is any doubt, typically you should not turn it over. But we're not seeing all the angles that the officials are.
What's my record on these?
I believe both of us are 0 for 3.
Oh, I said it was out.
You got one, you got that one.
Said the pancake was good. I'm really surprised because these old eyes are seeing some good stuff right now. It's a good night.
Tied at 16 in the fourth. Lee tools off the block.
Well, no question about that one. Franti, fantastic pass, gets her feet behind the ball, puts it right up to the setter. And then Simone Lee just wiping it hard off the block. As soon as that ball made contact with her hands, she was swiping it as hard as she could.
19 kill night, looking for her 5th match this season where she has had 20 kills or more. And they're gonna need her if they're gonna come back and win this match. Holman for the Huskers.
No, I really think she needs to get the ball a little bit more. Brianna Holman, very fast, gets high. You can see the right side blocker really not taking away that cross-court shot. So a lot of area for Holman to hit the ball.
Lee, Maloney with the up. Katie Rolfson, White was there. Thielen off the block and down.
You know, Kendall White, the libero for Penn State, she is going to keep getting better. I am so impressed by the way she reads down the line when the shot's going down the line and digs balls up perfectly. Really impressive performance by her tonight.
Malloy, Penn State block waiting on her. Roll shot, diving was White, great up by her, and then a whistle and a double contact as Thielen tried to send it over.
Yeah, unfortunate error by Thielen. As you said, spectacular dig by Kendall White, and a change of direction. Weiskircher going to her left, change of direction, pushing it against the grain, going with the set to the right side, but Thielen with a ball handling error, delivering it over the net, delivering a free ball. 30
digs for Kendall White. Best effort of the season from her. And a big part of why Penn State's still in this. As White will head back to serve with Penn State leading by 1. There's Amber Rolfson.
Well, this is some great volleyball we're seeing here. All tied up in the fourth. Really, this match could go either way. It's super important. One team has got to just play some clean volleyball here and not give easy, unforced points to the opponent. So you've got to eliminate your unforced errors here in the tail end of a set.
Franti is stuffed.
All right, how will Franti react after being stuffed? If she gets the next ball, let's see if she's tentative or if she goes up aggressively. It's what good blocks will do. It gets in your head. You've got to have the utmost confidence in yourself if you want to be a pin hitter.
Audrey, Nebraska did not have a single block in set one. They now have 11 as a team, and that is even with Penn State. That is a tremendous turnaround for the Huskers.
Right, well, Penn State was blocking like out of this world, so I'm sure Nebraska was just waiting for them to come back down to earth and play regular kind of blocking. You know, Nebraska, though, really turning it around, as you mentioned. So now they're all tied up at 11 blocks apiece, so really at this point, got to play aggressive volleyball on both sides of the net if you want to win it.
Nebraska played 8 of their first 10 Big Ten matches against ranked teams. You see the upcoming schedule. Not quite as difficult. They'll get Penn State at home. They do have 4 more matches against ranked teams, but they also have 5 matches on the road. Now we've seen improvement from Iowa and Indiana this season, but the way Nebraska has played, you would think they'd be able to handle those opponents. Rutgers, difficult year for them. But the big matchup remaining for the 2 big matchups for the Huskers, Penn State at home after tonight's match on November 16th, and then the matchup against Minnesota on November 23rd. Matchup between 2 of the top 3 teams in the nation. That was a win in 5 sets for the Huskers at home, but this time they'd go on the road to the Sports Pavilion.
Right, and you just talk about the grind of this season and how long it is, and you know, you just have to stay healthy. Typically in November, kids start getting a little under the weather, so you really got to manage so many things in order to play consistently high-level volleyball week in and week out. And it, you know, again, you mentioned the opponents. I get it that they're not ranked teams, some of them aren't, but you know, some of those teams, they're just so hungry for a win. They bring out their A game. If you think you've got the match under your belt before you even step on the court, you could be, you know, very rudely surprised by an opponent.
Washington out of the timeout, ties it up at 20. We saw this earlier, the race to 5 points. Nebraska trying to close out this match in 4. Penn State trying to force a 5th set. Amber Rolfson. That ball popped up by Lee. Franti. Weiskircher goes to Washington, and Penn State has the lead.
Well, here's what I like about that sequence. Franti just keeps the ball in play, allows her team to block, dig, transition swing here from Washington, scores. Amazing play there by Penn State, just keeping the ball alive, extending the rally, waiting in order to get in system and get the ball to Washington.
Washington on the night, 12 kills for her, hitting over 400. And a big night for her after not getting her numbers last weekend.
Yeah, so, you know, when her team needs a kill, she delivers every single time. And here in this 4th set, boy, she has come up big.
Washington, part of that junior class. You think of Simone Lee, Haley Washington. There were 5 players ranked in the top 15 nationally coming out of high school by PrepVolleyball.com. That was a class that was considered maybe one of the best recruiting classes in the history of the sport. Washington, of course, was the #1 overall recruit. Simone Lee, the #8 recruit. #2 was Allie Franti. And that doesn't even mention everybody in the class, but there was so much talent for Penn State in that group, and one of the reasons why they're able to still contend in the Big Ten Conference year in, year out is the talent we talked about.
Yeah, and you know, as I said, they're hungry. This program has done so many phenomenal things, but this group they want something to call their own. And so they are really working hard and believing in Russ Rose and the system that he wants them to run. And they keep getting better. I feel like the backcourt play for Penn State tonight has looked better than what I've seen it look in the past. You've got to appreciate that it is a work in progress, and that junior class, boy, they want a victory tonight, and they want to continue to do well, not only in conference play, but in the NCAA tournament.
The junior class was a big part, a couple of them, in that national championship in 2014 when they were freshmen. Fecky the swing, that's in. There was also a touch whistled. So Penn State, even though it was close, doesn't look like they're going to call for a challenge review.
Well, I love the set selection there to bring Fecky in a little bit. Just a different look from her, a different defense setup, and it really just helped her get that kill by setting the ball inside the court slightly.
Penn State out of system. Good chance here for Nebraska. Hunter has to go over on her own, but out of play.
This is going to be a fantastic challenge here for Nebraska. Are they going to be able to get side out, a good pass, a good swing on the ball for Penn State? It'll be a challenge for their defense. Will the block be able to read where Nebraska is going offensively, and will they be able to dig around a nicely formed block?
Browerman into serve for Penn State. Holman with the mistake, and Penn State just 2 points away from forcing the fifth.
And the ball was under set. You can see it here. The ball was actually over her left shoulder instead of her right shoulder, so she really didn't have an opportunity to swing clear of the net.
23-21, Penn State. Nittany Lions trying to use this home crowd to spur them on, and you see the national attendance average. Penn State fifth, but Nebraska, no one's touching the Huskers at 8,200 fans on average. Penn State, though, still one of the great atmospheres in the nation in collegiate women's volleyball. And of course, the difference, you think of Rec Hall, a smaller venue, you get that average at 3,500. The fans are a little bit more on top of you than they are, say, at Devaney, which was the case at the old NU Coliseum.
Well, certainly one of the Nebraska keys is going to be to manage the environment. Doesn't matter, where you go in this conference. There's going to be some rowdy college kids in your face, but right now, it's all a game of momentum. Penn State's feeling it right now. They've got the backing of the band there. The crowd is behind them. So, they really want to see this Penn State upset #1 in the country tonight.
Did see that earlier this season on October 5th when they upset #1 Minnesota in 5 sets. They have to win it in 5 tonight as well. And they're 2 points away from heading to the 5th. Also would be a tremendous bounce back for Penn State. Not only if they could get the upset, but you think of the last week that they've had, losing in straight sets on the road to Minnesota, lost in 4 to Wisconsin, lost in 5 at Michigan. The 3-match losing streak, and you mentioned they haven't lost 4 in a row since 1982.
Right. So part of that is just believing in your training, having competitive maturity and confidence at critical points in the game, and they're certainly showing it today.
Holman goes for a tip. Hunter, though, the swing.
So sloppy ball control on Penn State's side of the net gives an easy kill here. You can see you just don't want to play the ball. You got to play it off the net. Give your hitters an opportunity to score. Penn State not able to control that first contact.
And Nebraska's best server on the back line. Hunter goes after the Penn State libero. Good pass, and Simone Lee the kill.
Look at the emotion of Kendall White, freshman libero for Penn State, getting in the face of Simone Lee and the rest of her team, jacking him up. That's leadership by just the freshman. Simone Lee just hammering that ball. Everybody's excited now.
Set point for Penn State to force a 5th set, and Dietering comes back in to serve. But a service error. So not what Penn State wanted. Dietering frustrated after she came off the bench. So Penn State still has set point. Nebraska with Fecky to serve. There'll be a timeout. As Nebraska's down by 1, Penn State trying to force a 5th set. So the 24-23 lead for Penn State in the 4th. And talked about all the good matches when these two teams have been #1. And this may have been one of the best. October 28th, 2012, a 5-setter. Nebraska would win it. Audrey, you and I were there, and it was absolute bedlam. It was nuts in the Coliseum. Yeah. One of the best matches we've ever seen.
Yeah, I remember trying to talk to Coach Cook, and it was absolutely impossible for either one of us to hear each other. The crowd was going crazy, just as they are here tonight in Rec Hall.
You and I have been to a lot of Big Ten venues. We've seen a lot of volleyball in the last half-decade, but I don't know if there's been a louder night than that night in the NU Coliseum.
Yeah, it was something to be seen, and like you said, I will never forget that match. Simply incredible, and you talk about high-level volleyball. Boy, both teams were displaying it that night.
Nebraska trying to tie this up, go to extra points. Huskers won the 3rd by the 2-point margin, but it was 25-23. Penn State trying to win by that margin right here with their 2nd set point upcoming. Fecky on the line for the Huskers. Long wait for her. And Nebraska, with those 11 service errors, she's going to try to keep this one in. Weiskircher goes to Lee. Bump set, Penn State's block is there. Joust to the net, won by the Nittany Lions. We're headed to the 5th. No surprise that these two teams are headed to 5. Come back for a fantastic conclusion on BTN. Has been upset throughout this season. Ohio State beating Nebraska on October 1st. Then Penn State beat #1 Minnesota when they took over the spot. Then Minnesota would defeat Wisconsin. And things have turned over multiple times. Nebraska would then take over #1 again. It has been a theme, the Big Ten in the top spot.
Yeah, it's been exciting to watch, but frustrating too. If you're a coach, you know, you're playing these top-ranked opponents, and you hope your team can maintain that #1 ranking. I call it the curse of being #1. You know, great level of volleyball here in the Big Ten. Tough opponents every night.
Nebraska has defeated Michigan State and Minnesota in 5. Penn State 1 in 3. Lost to North Carolina in 5 at home, and then lost 2 on the road to Colorado and Michigan, and defeated Minnesota when they were #1, as we just saw a moment ago. Race to 15 points in the 5th. Washington looking for the first point. Remember, Weiskircher took over in the 3rd set as the Penn State setter. And the offense has been clicking. Fecky with the kill.
Now, when you have a left side like Fecky, feed her the ball. This time she takes advantage. Cross-court shot, had some open court, just rips the ball hard.
And Weiskircher was trying to go for her own behind the back attack, but it's out of play.
Yeah, and she was in a situation where there really wasn't too much for her to do. The ball was passed tight, so she was actually trying to save the ball and make a positive play. It just sailed a little wide of the court.
Good start for Nebraska. Lee right at that 10-foot line. Albright has to set all the way across. Lee, the big swing and the touch.
Well, Lee believes that she can get kills at critical times. Look at how deep she approaches from. Nice whack on that ball.
Simone Lee was the one who said at the beginning of this season that the junior class needed to step up and show why they were the #1 recruiting class, and they did that in that win against Minnesota. And they're trying to do it again tonight. Here's Lee. Another kill.
And you know, when a big kid like Haley Washington, 6'3", gets involved in the defense, and your team has an opportunity to score, especially when you've got Lee on that left side. So they are celebrating great defense that transitions to a great offense.
Third double-double of the season for Lee. And then a tough attempt there from Katie Rolfson that somehow she turns into a point.
Yeah, a great job by Katie Rolfson to get her feet to the ball, get her hips facing cross court, and bettering the ball. There wasn't much she could do with it except hit cross court because the antenna's right in front of her face. Nice veteran play by her.
Guerrel off the block and down.
Guerrel taking a big swing at the ball. Franti passing perfectly. One-on-one there. She takes advantage of what's open, which was cross court. Guerrel, what a stud.
Remember, Nebraska is alone atop the Big Ten standings at 11-1. Penn State is 9-3. Nebraska in a good spot to continue to be in the Big Ten title race, whether they win or lose. Obviously, they want to stay atop the standings. Penn State, though, if they suffer a 4th loss in Big Ten play, you can't completely count them out, but more likely than not, they're out of the Big Ten title race.
Yeah, it would be, you know, the race in the top 3 there, and Nebraska would need to keep consistent play throughout the remainder of the Big Ten season. But, you know, there's a lot of volleyball here left to be played, and Penn State certainly isn't going to go down without a fight.
Malloy comes through for the Huskers.
Well, she's having a phenomenal night. Her 18th kill of the night. Take a look at that jump set there by Hunter. Nice little side swipe there on the ball.
Penn State out of system on that short serve from Justine Wong-Orantes. Another chance for Malloy. Simone Lee. Lee again with another attack. Maloney lays out. Malloy off the block.
A great backcourt defense by Nebraska. They're just fighting to keep the ball alive. And then a critical swing here. Boy, she gave it everything she got. Great grit on that left pin by Malloy.
6-3 lead for Nebraska in the 5th. We've got a great finish upcoming. But we have seen swings of momentum on both sides of the net. And we know this one's far from over. Hunter. Amber Rolfson. Franti can't get to it.
And you can see in that particular point, Penn State's passing slightly off, gives the advantage to Nebraska. They're making their best efforts defensively, as you see by that get by Franti, the attempt by Franti, but just falling a little bit short. And this is what the #1 team will do to you. They make you make plays, and right now Nebraska doing a good job of getting out in front here in the 5th set.
Wong-Orantes clips the net. Simone Lee, the block for Nebraska.
Amber and Katie working in unison here together. Look at that block. Same time, go up together, land together, celebrate together.
At 8-3, switch sides of the net as Nebraska with a commanding lead now in the 5th set. Huskers are trying to win in 5 sets on the road in Rec Hall for the 2nd consecutive season. It would be just their 2nd win in this building as a member of the Big Ten Conference. They did also win in 1993. This was a great series before they ever became members of the Big Ten together. You remember, you think back to 2008 and that matchup that was played in Omaha in the NCAA tournament semifinals in front of 17,000 fans. That was won by Penn State. And the only 2 sets they dropped all season were that night against the Huskers. Sent over by Lee. Amber Rolfson with the attack, and there will be a touch call, the point to Nebraska.
Well, there wasn't a touch call initially, I don't think, and so they were demanding it. Who called the touch? Oh, yeah. The lines judge on this side of the court definitely saw the touch off the block. Called it right away.
9-3 lead for the Huskers. Malloy, blocked!
Well, she's been outstanding all night. The out-of-system swing was something that she's been getting better at all year long, but right there, Nebraska was not able to get a kill off of an out-of-system attack.
12th block of the night for Penn State, 12 for Nebraska. All the more impressive that the Huskers did not have a block in set 1. Overpass off the serve from Nittany. Franti terminates for Penn State.
And you can see the game within the game, that pass-serve game. This time Nebraska struggling on serve receive, putting an easy one over the net. Franti, she has the look of a fighter in her eyes, and I like it when she gives that look. She wants to win so badly tonight.
And the ace from Nittany. Penn State back in it.
Well, hey, you know, if you get called to do a job, then do it well, and that's exactly what Nittany is doing from the service line. Started off setting this match, got replaced by Weiskircher. Now the nod goes to her to serve some aces to get Penn State back in, and she does exactly what Russ Rose is asking her to do. Tough serves from the service line.
And remember, she had that bad error in the 4th set. She made a mistake from the service line. Good recovery for her when she came back in here in the 5th set to serve. Take a look at the Big Ten standings. The current Big Ten standings, 11-1 for Nebraska. And you see Penn State could be in that tie for 3rd place with Minnesota. So Penn State is not out of the Big Ten title race, especially if they win this match.
Right.
Because they'll only be 1 match behind Nebraska and Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's just a crazy, crazy conference, and I love it.
All of the ranked teams in the Big Ten. We've seen ranked teams go down to unranked foes. We've seen #1 teams, as we illustrated earlier. It is so much fun to watch volleyball in the Big Ten Conference. It just doesn't get any better than this.
Yeah, and I think the challenge is you have to play consistently well week in and week out. And that is the toughest thing. You can have 1 or 2 good matches, but to just string that together like Nebraska has been able to do has been tough. Now, they haven't been playing their best volleyball tonight. They've been competing hard. I think Malloy's doing a good job, but there's certain individuals that haven't been on their A game. But, you know, Penn State trying to challenge them here in the 5th, serving tough, getting them out of system.
That one does get to Hunter, and here's Malloy. Nittany had to dig that ball up. Franti the attack. Upset for Franti to block for the Huskers.
Well, that's a key point. Psychological advantage when you get to 10 first in the 5th set. And you can see Franti wanted that kill so bad. Unfortunately, set trapped her a little bit. She had to go cross court with it. And Nebraska's block was there and just swallowed it up.
Another look for Franti. Rolfson in the back row, got a hand on it. Free ball chance for Penn State. Weiskircher, Guerrel. Huskers keep it alive. Another chance for Guerrel.
Well, let's remember that kill by Guerrel. Huge momentum shift. She gets the ball set twice to her. A great effort there defensively by Nebraska, but look at that. She takes advantage of the left side blocker being a little bit slow to get to her to help with that block. Boy, Guerrel, big swing for Penn State.
9 kills, 7 blocks for Tori Guerrel. Rolfson.
Well, at a critical point, you've got to get that pass up. Look at where Hunter's setting the ball from, perfectly right in that setter's box. Quick tempo to the pin. And Nebraska doing a good job of playing clean volleyball on serve receive.
Amber Rolfson has tied her season high of 16 kills that she had against Wisconsin and Minnesota. Another big performance for her in a crucial match, and Fecky uses the block.
Well, that was a tight, difficult set to manage. Fecky, what a wonderful job she does to not just keep the ball alive, but get a point off of a bad set. That is what bettering the ball is all about right there.
Fecky with 17 kills, Malloy with 19, Rolfson, as we mentioned, with 16. A little bit better balance for the Huskers than for Penn State, but Simone Lee has been quiet in the 5th set. Obviously, she's rotated the back row and hasn't had as many attempts, but they need to get more opportunities for Simone Lee. And coming up, more volleyball on BTN on Wednesday night. You can catch Indiana taking on Michigan. Coverage starts at 7 Eastern Wednesday night, presented by Tachikara on BTN and BTN to go. Michigan Wolverines and the Hoosiers. Any matchup you see in the Big Ten Conference results in usually a great night. You think of that matchup that we had between Maryland and Ohio State. That was a 5-set match that you would not have thought would go 5.
Right.
You never know what to expect in the Big Ten. But right now, 12-7 lead, Audrey, for Nebraska. What's the message from Russ Rose to his team in the timeout?
Well, first of all, he's trying to break momentum here. They clearly were on a run. So, you know, at this point, you've got to just serve and pass well. This is a critical side-out run for Penn State. They have got to get this point, and they've got to do it with a huge swing to get momentum back on their side. So Russ Rose is talking about get a good pass up, let's hit a smart shot, and then if we don't get a smart shot, let's not make a self-inflicted error. Let's try and block and dig for the point.
I saw that stat, not since 1982. Penn State has not lost 4 consecutive matches. A tip from Washington. And again, look at the fire in the eyes of Kendall White.
Yeah, I love it, I love it. So Washington does a good job of managing that set. Setter was off the net, the slide was a little bit higher, a little not out of system, but off tempo, and she tips the ball in a perfect spot to get a point.
Hunter, White was there, Weiskircher. Fecky cross court, but it's out of play. The mistake by Fecky, and Penn State down by 3. Another chance, they go right back to her. And it's a kill as Penn State and Franti couldn't play it as it came close to the net.
Yeah, but, you know, Fecky hit an error, gets a kill. That's exactly what you want in the mental makeup of your outside hitter. You want somebody that is tough, is not going to dwell on errors, and deliver a kill after making an error.
Nebraska 2 points away. But we said it earlier, you can never count out Penn State. Remember, a few years ago, they were down 14-10 in a 5th set against Illinois and came back and won. It's not going to help, though, if you have errors.
Yeah. So that time, you know, you go with your best hitter, Haley Washington. However, she's not in system, so difficult shot by her. She was trying to get that big kill cross court, was not able to deliver.
Match point for Nebraska. Weiskircher at the net. And Penn State, despite not a good first contact, gets the point.
Well, Franti got very lucky on that one, delivers an overpass essentially, and somehow it manages to get past Nebraska's blocker, and nobody in the backcourt was thinking that ball was coming over the net.
Another chance for the Huskers. Match point number 2. Overpass from Nebraska this time.
John just can't even believe what he's seeing here. Overpasses on both sides of the net, bad passing. Oh, frustrating.
Two Huskers almost collide. Fecky, and that'll do it. No, they're gonna say it was out. I think they're gonna go to the review.
Yeah, this would be interesting.
First look,
yep.
That was in, and Nebraska's won this match, but a challenge, and we'll get another look.
Yeah, let's see if the match is won by the challenge here. Let's take a look again. That ball is in.
Ball is in, and Nebraska will win this match. Shouldn't take long, but the officials will look at a couple different angles, but the Huskers are going to win this match. Nebraska survives a 5-set victory for the Cornhuskers on the road in Happy Valley. Got off to a slow start, survived to win this match, and remain atop the Big Ten stands.
Fecky, 19 kills for the night, and the most important one was that last one that she got that was first ruled out of bounds, then overruled inbound, so critical kill there by Fecky. Malloy also getting 19 kills for the night, so both of the outside hitters for Nebraska doing a really good job.
The second ever win in Rec Hall as a member of the Big Ten Conference for the Cornhuskers, and their second straight in 5 sets. Last year they came back from an 0-2 deficit to win in 5. This year they go up 2-1, lose the 4th, and win in 5.